So, this message is gonna probably be one of the ones that hit the hardest because I could feel it in my chest. And also because it wouldn't let me sleep. It literally wouldn't let me sleep. Like I kept rolling around and I had to get up. And so, with that being said, I'll start this off with, has anybody ever had one of those days where they wake up in the morning for whatever reason, but let it be work, get their kids ready for school, their alarm goes off, just they got to start their day, whatever, and they open their eyes, and like I said, their alarm goes off, and they hit snooze 10,000 times, or they just turn it off and they say to themselves, not today, and they roll over, they go back to sleep, and they either don't get out of bed that day, or they fight with themselves. They go back and forth, and they debate. They strongly fight themselves. How bad do I need this job? How bad do I need it? Like, if I don't go in today and I lose my job, can I be okay? Is it worth the risk? Can I take that risk? Because I don't really feel like doing it today. I don't really have it in me today. I don't have the motivation today. I don't have the strength today. I just can't do it today. For whatever reason that is. I mean, whether you just lost your job, you just had a bad breakup, you just going through some stuff. I mean, you behind on your bills. You overworked and underpaid. I mean, you just living paycheck to paycheck, and you're just run down. You're just tired. You're just tired of really doing the same thing every day. You're tired of waking up, going to work, coming home, going to sleep, waking up, going to work, coming home, going to sleep. You're just tired of the cycle. I mean, or you're going through a divorce. Somebody close to you just died. You and your friend are at it. You are up against each other. You are fighting over some dumb stuff. Your cat got out the house. Your dog got out the house. Your dog's at the vet. You don't even know how you're going to pay that vet bill. I mean, the list is endless, but you woke up that day and you questioned yourself. If you really needed to get up that day. If you questioned whether you could take that day to stay in that bed. And sometimes, like, for some people, that's not just one day. Sometimes it's a lot of days. That's several days out of the week. That's several days out of the month. I mean, that's depression. I mean, that could be lifelong depression. That could be seasonal depression because situational depression, even for any one of those situations. I mean, people tend to get more depressed, in the winter, around the holidays and all that stuff. Because times are hard and, you want to be around your family, but sometimes you can't make it happen. I mean, but whatever the case, I know people have woken up or had to wake up someday and turned off that alarm and really struggled to fight to get out of bed that day. I did that today. Like, I laid in bed and I fought myself. I really didn't want to do it. I really didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't have any particular reason. I was just tired. I just just didn't want to get out of bed. I just get up every day and I'm overworked. I'm tired. I just want to sleep in. I just want to lay around all day. I want a day where I can lay around all day. I had no motivation today. Really. And so, as I'm laying there and I'm rolling around, here comes Spirit. Girl, get up. So here I go. I roll over to the other side. Girl, get up. Not today. Not today, Spirit. Not today. Not today. I love you. But not today. Girl, I said get up. Now he in the serious tone. Girl, I said get up. So I take my pillow and I put it over my head and I'm like, and I just want to clarify, because this is probably why people think I'm on drugs. It's not things that I hear. It's more like thoughts in my head, okay? Things that be like passing through my mind's eye, okay? And so I put it over my head. And I'm like, I don't want to. Please don't make me. Don't make me. I don't want to. I'm tired. I'm tired. Yeah, I'm tired. Let me sleep. Let me sleep. And it don't matter how tight I hold that pillow. And he's like, girl, we need you. I know. But I need some sleep. I'm tired. Girl, your kids need you. I know. But I really don't want to get out of this bed. And it's like, there really is no arguing. You can't. It's like dealing with a defense lawyer who's been in his own practice for like 110 years. Like, you can't do it. It's like, for every excuse that I had, it's like, you need you. Your mom needs you. Every woman out here needs you. The world needs you. I mean, at most, your kids need you. You need to get out of this bed. You need to. Because what good are you doing from in this bed? I mean, there are plenty of things that you need to be getting done, that you know you need to be getting done, like simple things like your laundry. You ain't got no clean clothes to put on, girl. Get out of the bed. Do some laundry. And then get to the important things. Like preaching my word. Preaching what I need you to say. Because I can't speak it for myself. Preach it because this is what I put you here for. Help my people. Help the world. Because this is what I put you here for. And I can't argue him. I can't. But in any event, those days when you laying there and you're struggling, you need to tell yourself, girl, man, whatever, girl, boy, get up. And no matter who it is, whether it be your kids, your sister, your brother, your mother, I mean, they need you. And this is why I'm going to tell you that it hits hard. Because this message is coming in so strong. Where I know the message, but I'm trying to, like, I can speak it word from word from what Spirit is saying. Spirit says, Thou made no mistake when I made you. When I made you down to every fine detail. I made your eye color. I made your hair color. I made your height. I made your flaws. I made your laugh. I made your dimples. I made everything down to a T about you. And I made no mistake when I made you. There is no mistake about you. And so he says he personalized you to perfection. He personalized you to perfection, to his plan. He personalized you to you, to who you are. He made you, you. And you are perfect just the way you are. And that's because he made you that way. He chose to give you them brown eyes. He chose to give you that blonde hair. He chose to give you that crooked smile. He chose to give you that dimple right there when you smile. He chose to make you 6'7". He chose to make you 4'2". He chose to make you the way that you are. And he did that to align you with your purpose and for what he saw as perfection. And you are perfectly you. So while you might not see yourself as perfect, you are perfect. God made you perfect. I mean, in the way you want to see it, I mean, God even made your flaws. He made you you. And by no mistake did he make you you. You are the way you are because that's the way you're supposed to be. And so, like I said, when you're getting down on yourself, I need you to think about that. When you're thinking, you know, I know as a girl, it gets tough, it gets rough. You know, I'm not pretty enough. No. Because whatever you choose to believe in, I mean, it varies around religions, but it's kind of the same story throughout religions. I mean, God didn't make Adam without Eve. So he made someone for everyone. So fear not. To someone, even if you don't believe yourself that you are beautiful, someone will believe that you are beautiful. But there were very many times that I struggled to get out of the bed, that I've lacked motivation. And like I said, I know that people have struggled. And I think I don't know better than anybody, but I think I'm along the list of people that may know the most about depression, which may be situational because, like I said in my previous video, I didn't go into detail, but and I'm not good with ages either because it's been so long, but I think somewhere around the age 11, 12, maybe 13, I lost an uncle. He committed suicide. He struggled with bipolar depression, and you know, it's the ones that really don't tell you that they're struggling, that are really struggling. It's the ones that say that they're fine that are really not fine, and it's the ones that are here today that have a smile on their face that are gone tomorrow that you had no idea. My uncle was a very close person to me because my grandparents damn near raised me. I spent more time at my grandparents than I did my own home. So with that being said, my uncle was more like my brother. And so my grandfather was more like my father. And my grandmother was more like my mother. So they were three very important people in my life. And so I lost my uncle at a very young age. And let me tell you, grief and loss are hard. And it was even harder for me because he was 23. So when I hit 23, I was like, man, this is what this is what it feels like to be 23. And he was struggling so much that he took his own life. And from the outside, you wouldn't even know that anything was wrong with him. I mean, he loved me, and he loved the shit out of me. I mean, probably more than he loved any of my cousins or my brothers or anybody. I mean, he never let anybody else in his room, and he had like shelves and shelves of action figures that nobody else was allowed to even look at, let alone touch. But he would let me take them down and play with them and fight with them, and arms would be falling off and stuff, and he would never complain. So I will tell you, the day that I got that phone call that there was a man that jumped in front of a train, that hit hard. What? Mill?
Yes.
In a room. She's sleeping. That hit hard. Real hard. I mean, and and then it gets so deep because it's like you get the testimonies of the people that were on the train, because trains have to stop for miles and miles and miles and miles away. They can't stop as fast as you need them to, and that's why people pick that way to go, because it's fast. The impact is fast. It's hard. It's quick, and they know that that train can't stop. And so all the people that were sitting on that train saw what was coming and watched it all happen. And so my uncle stepped on that track, and he decided last minute that, I guess, chickened out and said that he didn't want to do it. That wasn't the way that he wanted to go, but it was too late. The tracks closed, and it closed on his feet, and he was stuck. And that was it for him. These people testified that my uncle changed his mind. He changed his mind. He didn't want to go. He didn't want to go. But it was too late. The decision was made. And so that was his time. God made no mistake when he made him. He made him for a purpose, and I guess he served his purpose. Or I don't know. And so a couple years went by, and man, if anybody knows grief, was it my grandma, because that was her son. And a couple years later, like I said, it's the people that say nothing and are the happiest people in the world on the outside that you would never know, that are struggling on the inside. And so I was fighting with my mom. I was a bad teenager. I was bad, and I will admit that now. I treated my mom like dog doo doo, and I can admit that now. I was a bitch, and my mom didn't deserve it. And I was fighting with my mom, and like I said, I spent more time at my grandma's, and I was over there, and usually they just let me be over there, and it didn't matter if I was wrong, right, whatever. I was always right in their eyes. You know what I mean? They just let me fight it out from over there. And so I was sitting upstairs with my grandma like I normally do. She had some little mini fridge up there. She would always have like cut up celery and carrots and peppers with little cups of ranch dip. I mean, she knew me, and we used to sit up there and we used to watch Lifetime Movie Network, and we used to sit up there with our veggies and ranch and little cans of Pepsi. And something told me to go downstairs. I went downstairs, and my grandpa was sitting on the couch, and he was watching Law and Order like he always did. It was always Law and Order, or like that CSI or whatever it was that he used to watch. I don't know. That's what he got into. I mean, that man probably, he watched too much of it. He probably could have killed someone and got away with it, but whatever. I sat down next to him, and like I said, it's usually the ones you can't tell, but something didn't seem right with him. He just looked sad. I mean, and nothing about this man was ever sad. Like, he was always so happy. And so I looked at him and I said, Papa, what's wrong? He said, nothing, baby, nothing. And I'm like, Well, you know, if you ever need to talk about anything, you know you can talk to me, right? Yeah, baby, I know. I know. Oh, Lord. I knew this is going to be hard. Why he make me do this? Why he make me talk about this? I sat there for a little bit with him. I watched the show with him. He looked over at me. He said, baby, you need to go home tomorrow and you need to make up with your mom. What? What? Did I hear you correctly? He said, yeah. I need you to go make up with your mom because I can't have you living this way. I need you to do this for me. See, and I didn't understand at the time because, like I said, he would never make me make up with my mom. It didn't matter whether I was wrong or right because I was always right when it came to them. Well, even if I was wrong, I was right. And so we woke up in the morning and he drove me to Target where I said I wanted to be dropped off. And he gave me a hug and he said, I love you. And I said, I love you. And why? Why wasn't I thinking when as he's hugging me, he's like, you always were my favorite. I'm like, I know, Papa, I know. And you see, it always used to be a struggle within my family. It always used to be a battle. My mom's sisters and brothers would be fighting with my grandparents because, like, my grandparents don't love their kids like they love my mom's kids. And not even my mom's kids the way they love me. And the other parts of my family would be so angry about how he would speak so highly of me. Like when I got accepted into high school, I got accepted into Central, and he went over to his brother's house bragging about how I got accepted into Central, and his brother's bragging about how his granddaughter got accepted into Girls High. He's like, oh yeah, well my grandbaby got accepted into Central. Like, you couldn't, he put me on the highest pedestal. Like, I was Queen Elizabeth. You could not, you could not top me. I mean, this man taught me how to drive, and I'll tell you, when it came down to both of those weddings, and thank Jesus those weddings didn't happen, because if they did, it would have broke me, because that man was supposed to walk me down the aisle. Whew. But he drops me off the Target. He says he loves me. He says that I'm his favorite. I said, I know. He said, you weren't meant to be like the rest of us. You meant to be something different. You here to be different than the rest of us. You weren't meant to be like the rest of us. And then he's saying all this. I'm not even thinking what is about to happen. So I leave him. And I'm so stubborn, man. I'm a bull. I don't go home. I wander the streets all day. And then it starts to get dark. And then I sleep in Shawmont's parking lot because I'm not going home. I'm a bull. And I don't believe I'm wrong. And I know, and my grandfather said he knows I'm not wrong either. And to this day, I was wrong. And I'm sorry, Mama. I'm sorry. I was wrong. But I slept in Shawmont's parking lot because I didn't want to go home. I didn't want to say I was wrong. And so I walked around until it started getting daylight. And when it got daylight, I started walking to my friend Julia's house. That was a couple blocks away. It was like 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. Some cab driver tried hitting on me. That was kind of scary. I mean, I was only like 14, 15 at the time. But when I got there, I don't know. I was only there like an hour. I was telling her about what happened with the cab driver. And this is after I was throwing rocks at her window and everything, trying to get her attention. Thank God her parents were home, because her parents were Polish. And her parents would have, like, drove a stake through my chest. But we're sitting there out in the back smoking cigarettes, something that we shouldn't have even been doing. And Julia gets a phone call, and they tell her that I need to get to my grandfather's house as soon as possible because my Uncle Frank killed himself. So she hangs up the phone. I tell her, I'm shaking my hand, telling her not to tell my mom I'm not here. So Julia, as the good friend she was, she tells her I'm not there, but Julia accepts the message and she tells me. Now, not making any sense to me, I go over to my grandfather's house, and the whole time that I'm walking over there, it's not making sense to me. My Uncle Frank is my grandfather's brother. Now, why would my grandfather's brother go to my grandfather's house and kill himself? Why, of all places, would he do that? Why would he do that at his own brother's house? Why would he do that to his brother? Why wouldn't he do it at his own house? Like, all these things are running through my brain. But I'm still trying to get there. You know what I mean? Like, all I can think about is my grandfather. Like, the trauma that he's going through. That he's sitting at his house and his brother done killed himself in his own house. Like, and I get there. And I see this big coroner van outside. I'm like, oh man, this ain't good. I'm walking in the door and there's these people sitting on the couch. There's people standing. There's people everywhere. And then people hop up off the couch as I'm walking in the door and they're like, get the fuck up there! I'm like, well, damn. What do you do? So everybody's pushing me up the stairs. And I get upstairs. I sit down on my grandma's bed. She's crying. I could get it. I mean, her brother-in-law just killed himself. You know? Sad story. So I'm sitting there, I'm rubbing her, I'm comforting her, and I look over to her and I'm like, well, she's devastated. I need to check on my grandpa. So I look at her and I'm like, where Papa at? The tears stop. And her face turns white as a ghost. And she sits back and she's like, where Papa at? And so my uncle turned to me and he says, you don't know? Oh, hold up. No. He's like, no! Ah! Right then I knew. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Do you know the amount of guilt I held for so long? He didn't want me to really make up with my mama. He just wanted me out the house so he could do what he had to do. He knew what he was going to do. And he just didn't want me to see it. And I respect him for not wanting me to be there. But then I blamed myself for so long. What if I just asked a couple more times? What if I just annoyed the motherfucking shit out of him? I mean, eventually he would have talked. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I'm not going to leave you alone until you tell me what's wrong with you. You look sad. Tell me what's wrong. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? I mean, it was my motherfucking fault. I should have never left. If I didn't leave, he wouldn't have did that. But then here goes my mama. Ashley. He already knew what he was going to do. Eventually, he would have just did it, whether you was there or not. Yeah, but I could have saved him a couple more days. I could have tried a little harder. If anybody was going to help him at all, if anybody was going to get him any help, if anybody was going to get any answers, if anybody could have saw that something was wrong with him, it was me. I saw it. I saw something was wrong with him and I left. I left. But you couldn't have stopped him. You would have did it anyway. Maybe, but maybe not. He obviously didn't do it for the week that I was staying there prior to that. I held it off for a week. I probably could have held it off for another week. And if I kept coming down every day, every night of his law and order and asking him what's wrong and reminding him that he could talk to me, then maybe he could have got some stuff off of his chest. Maybe it wouldn't have been so heavy on him. I held that for so long. So damn long. And then I was mad at him. I was so mad at him. How selfish. How selfish of you. Now you not hurting anymore. Now we out here just stuck hurting. And you just wherever flying your angel wings, smiling and doing whatever. And I'm down here hurting, hating myself. You didn't get rid of you got rid of your pain, but you just passed it on to everybody else. How selfish. You didn't really care about me. You didn't care about nobody when you did that. You just took the easy way out. Instead of just manning up and fighting through your problems, you just took the easy way out. And I was so mad at him. And then I realized that wasn't right of me either. And I only realized that because like I said, I battled depression myself since then. And on and off, I mean, I'm not, now for once in my life, and I feel like I have spirit to thank for this. I'm not on any antidepressants. And that's for the first time in my life since I've been like 14 years old. I've always been on like 4 antidepressants, and that's at a max. And anxiety medications and all types of stabilizers and things that keep me sedated because I could not cope with myself with that. And so I'm good now. You know what I mean? I don't need any medication. And I'm thankful for that because I had many doctors tell me that after so many episodes that needing to be on it for your entire life goes up. The percentage. And so, but anyway, with that being said, I had depression throughout my whole life, but I had 4 children. And I have never had postpartum depression until my last child, until my daughter. And if I did, I didn't know it because my other depression blended so good that who could tell the difference? You know what I mean? And no one really speaks of the deaths, like the deaths in the burrows of postpartum depression. I think it's advertised and there's pamphlets on it and doctors speak about it and they educate on it and, but no one is fully prepared for the feeling the emotional turmoil, the ripping of the insides, the fight or flight mode, like every you are not prepared. I mean, I don't care how many pamphlets there are. I don't care how much it is advertised on TV. I don't care how much a friend told you about it from when they went through it. You is not prepared for it until it comes, because like I said, I didn't have postpartum until my fourth child. But let me tell you, that fourth pregnancy was already hard in itself. I mean, I had gestational diabetes with the last 3 of my children, but with my daughter, I also had like iron deficiency and all this stuff, and I actually died twice on the table with my daughter, and they had to bring me back. I hemorrhaged. I lost over 2 liters of blood. I had to get blood transfusions. I even after receiving 2 clotting factor blood medications. I mean, that pregnancy and that delivery was traumatic. And so, anyway, I got postpartum depression. And so I made a post on this before, so I'm sure people are up to date with this, but my daughter, and I hate to say it like this, but my daughter is the only one child that I tried for. And none of my children are accidents. I love them all. I heard once actually in life that your children choose you. And I think that's actually cool and kind of crazy at the same time. Because why would my children choose such a train wreck? But also, with that being said, your children choose you for both their life journey and your life's journey together. You are a part of each other's life journey, and they are part of your life's lesson, and you are part of their life's lesson, and you help each other grow, and you are intertwined with one another, and blah blah blah. But whatever. I love that my children picked me, actually. But with that being said, my daughter is the only one that I actually tried for. The other ones were not mistakes, but they were surprises. And so my daughter, I wanted her so bad because I had 3 boys and I always wanted a daughter. And when I found out that she was a girl, I was so excited, and I knew I wasn't having any more kids after that. So, when I had her, I mean, straight from the moment that I had her, like I said, it was a traumatic birth. They kept asking me if I wanted to go down and see her, and I barely went down and saw her. And when I did, I barely held her, and I didn't spend much time with her. I went back upstairs, and I had no connection with her. I had no bond. And so when we got home, I mean, I wanted her more than anything. I loved her more than anything. She was everything that I ever wanted. She was beautiful. She was everything that I ever asked for. She was everything that I ever could have wanted. She still is. And I don't know what I would do without her. I mean, she is everything. I mean, aside from my other 3 kids, obviously, but she is everything. And actually, just recently, I was told that she is a part of my life's purpose. I'm trying to figure out how we are intertwined together, but part of my life's purpose involves her, and I'm trying to figure out. Me and her are supposed to work together. But anyhow, I'm getting off the topic. I brought her home, and I was breastfeeding. I tried to breastfeed her. I tried to do the right thing. She was feeding off my breast, and when she wasn't, I was in the bathroom, and I was pumping. So literally, I felt nothing short of a cow. Like literally, when she was not eating off of my breast physically, I was in the bathroom pumping. I felt literally nothing short of living, breathing cow. Like that's all that I was. And so, when other than that, I was just laying on the couch. And I would just cry and cry and cry and cry and cry. And all my other kids would just look at me. Like, they're just looking at me like, and they would whisper to each other, "What's wrong with mommy? What's wrong with mommy? Why is she crying? What's wrong with her?" And I just, like, that would just make me cry more. Because I couldn't even begin to explain what was wrong with me. I didn't know. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I just knew that I felt like shit. I felt no connection to that, to the thing that I wanted the most in my entire whole life, everything that I've ever wanted. And I was slowly losing connection to my other children. I was losing connection to myself. I mean, I became a mother at 16 years old. I lost myself. Like, with being a mother at 16, I was a caregiver since the age of 16. I lost myself in becoming a caregiver and a mother. And I didn't know who else I was. I didn't know who I was. There was no identity. I didn't know who I was. And at the time, Noah and Amelia's dad was running out to the bar. I mean, he was gone more than he was home. I mean, he never came home. Every other night, he would come home, but it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning, and then he'd sleep until like 5 p.m., and then he'd get up, get dressed, and then go to the bar again. I had no support. No mental, no physical, no emotional, no support. And I begged him for support. I needed it. I kind of just, like, talked to my walls a little bit, because, like, how do I talk to my 4-year-old or my 4 children about what's going on with me right now? I don't even know who I am anymore. All I know is I just feel like a cow with udders. A fat ass cow. So I would lay there and I would literally get up and I would do the bare minimum. I would get up, I would make my kids food, I'd feed them, I'd give them a bath, I'd get them dressed, I'd hook them up with a TV or an iPad, and then I'd get back on the bed and the couch, and I'd cry and I'd cry and I'd cry, and I'd start the pumping and the boob feeding again, and then I'd cry and I'd cry and I'd cry and I'd cry, and finally, like, I mean, I could count out of the 2 weeks that she was born on one hand how many times he held my daughter. 2 times he fed my daughter a bottle. 1 time he changed my daughter's diaper. I just couldn't do it anymore. Like I said, I lost myself in being a mother, in being a cow. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have no help. And I begged him for help. I told him I was struggling. He came home, every couple of days, and he saw me crying on the couch, and he'd ask me, "What's wrong?" And I'd be like, "I don't know." And he'd be like, "What the fuck you mean you don't know?" And I'm like, "I really don't know." But I felt worthless. I felt useless. I felt like a piece of shit. And I knew what he was doing out there. He wasn't coming home, and he was spending nights at the bar. And I was fat and just had a baby, and I had a C-section, so I was all cut up. And he had already told me multiple times that I had a grandpa stomach. He was cheating on me. So he didn't care. So at that time, I felt everybody would be better off without me. My mom would take care of my kids. My mom would take good care of my kids. And the only thing that had me going for as long as I did, like the 2-3 weeks, was like, thinking about the pain that it would cause my older kids, knowing that I was gone and why I was gone, and the fact that I did it to myself. But it got to the point where it didn't matter anymore. I loved them, and I loved the shit out of them, and I would do anything for them. And I loved them so much, and I didn't want to leave them. I really didn't. And it was at that point that I truly understood where my grandfather was when he did, what his mental state was, what he was thinking. He didn't purposely try to hurt nobody. He wasn't being selfish. He didn't purposely try to pass the pain off. It wasn't that. It wasn't until at that moment when I thought to myself, like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I truly don't. I just want the pain to stop. I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to hurt anymore. I can't. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And truly, that's what it is. There's nothing selfish about it. These people don't want to die. They very much want to be here. They want to live. They want to experience life. They want to be here with their loved ones. He wanted to be here with me. He did. But he was hurting. And he just wanted the hurting to stop. And that was the only way he knew how. So, trigger warning. I arranged for my mother to take my kids because I told her I was struggling. And I just needed some time to clear in my head. Even though I knew what I was about to do. And how could I ever think about doing something like that to my mother when my mother done lost her brother and her father? How could I? How could I? Say the same thing. But my mother did. And so she took my kids because I couldn't kiss it. Because if I was already going to do that and I was going to leave my kids traumatized like that without a mother, and that I took my own life, I couldn't do it while they were there. I couldn't have one of them find me like that. Because although I wasn't there when my grandfather did it, I was there after, and I saw the aftermath. And man, if that won't mess your freaking life up. Like, and I didn't want that for my kids. You know what I mean? If I was going to do what I was going to do, I didn't want my kids to be there. So, my mom came and got them. So, I went in the bathroom where I knew Noah and Amelia's dad had a gun. Which he shouldn't have, because he promised me that he wouldn't keep it in the house. And he said he took it out. But he didn't. But he made every attempt to hide it. I'll say that. Because I had to get a chair and something to put on top of the chair to reach the top shelf and get it down. And so in a minute. Go finish playing your game. No, go back to your room. Go ahead. Go. Go. Go back to your room right now. Alright, but I'm not going to let you if you don't go back to your room right now. Go. 1, 2. Okay. So I got it down. And I just sat on the bathroom floor. And I was just crying and crying, and I ran all these things through my head, and I spent probably 10 minutes fighting with myself. No, I can't do this to my kids. No, I can't do this to my kids. My kids need me. My kids need me. My kids need me. No, but I can't hurt like this. No, I can't hurt like this. What good of a mom am I if I'm hurting like this? No, I can't go on like this. I can't go on like this. I can't go on like this. They'd be better off without me. I'm no good. I'm used goods. I'm dried up goods. No one's gonna want somebody with 4 kids, grandpa's stomach. It was flooding down, and then finally, I picked it up. And trust me, I never used a gun before. I never touched a gun before. So up until that point, I didn't even really fathom how heavy a gun really fucking was. I mean, shit, you could kill a motherfucker just smacking them over the head with the shit. Whatever. I picked it up. I believe I cocked it because it clicked. And I put it to my head. And I pulled the trigger. And it clicked. And I'm still looking around. And nothing happened. And now I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is this some sick game of Russian roulette? Like, now I'm scared. Now I ain't doing it again. I'm running through this thing again. Like, so I looked in it and there was no bullets. So I took a minute to sit there with it. And I thought on it like, what was different about me and my uncle and my grandfather? What was different? Why didn't it work? Why wasn't there no bullets? What the hell? Why do we even got a gun with no bullets? What kind of safety shit is this? You preaching that we need this for safety and we this ain't even, we don't even got all the working parts. And so what I could come up with was, it wasn't my time. God had a different plan for me. And again, there was no mistake when God made me. God specifically made me with a purpose and a reason. He made me exactly the way I am to fit his plan. And that was not a part of his plan. There was no bullets, and it was just a click, and my plan didn't go through because it was not a part of his. It wasn't my time, but it was theirs. And so, no one really saw the seriousness in the situation. And I'll explain, because, Noah's father came home and said, sat down and again did the why whole cry and blah, blah, blah. I don't understand. And so I told him what I tried to do, and he's like, what? Like, he didn't believe me. I'm like, yeah, I tried to, and it clicked, and it didn't work. And he's like, that's because I took the bullets out this morning and put them in the safe. And his whole demeanor changed. It was like, shit. Like, shit is real right now. And then that's like when it hit me, like, shit. Shit is real right now. Like, and so I went to my doctor and I asked for help. I went inpatient, and then I did outpatient. And then that's when I was on four different antidepressants. was maxed. Well, 3 antidepressants and a mood stabilizer and an anti-anxiety pill. I mean, I was maxed out on pills. I couldn't take anymore to cope with that demon of a thing called postpartum depression. Yeah, all them pamphlets and all them things all over, like, maternity wards and, like, OBGYN offices and stuff like that. Yeah, they try to prep you for it, but you it doesn't even put the icing on the cake. No. That shit came in my life like a train wreck. Like, I was perfectly fine, and then chugga chugga choo choo, that train came in and blew everything the fuck up. It turned my whole life upside down. Okay? That shit was real. So, again, for anybody that is struggling to get up, whatever it is that you are going through, there was no mistake when God made you. You were here for a reason. You were perfectly made. You are perfectly you. And so when you're laying there, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month, and you're struggling to get up, if it's not Spirit's voice that you hear my voice. Girl, get up. Boy, get up. Why? I need you. Girl, get up. Boy, get up. Spirit needs you. This world needs you. We all need you. You are loved. You are perfect. God has a plan. And if your plan doesn't align with His, know that your plan will not follow through. He's coming through that thing with a big X. Canceled. Have a good day.